guys? Welcome back to Ball Talk. I am your host, Braden Wheeler, along with my guest,
Dustin.
And Cooper.
All right, and today we're just going to dive into all the games from this past weekend of college football. It was a pretty exciting week. Did y'all watch any football this week?
I did. I watched Ole Miss and Georgia.
Yeah, that was a really good
The
game.
other game? Well, that might be the only one I watched actually.
I can't watch any games live, so
Dang.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I did watch the highlights for Oklahoma and Missouri,
I was
Oh,
over.
and
yeah.
Oregon and Maryland.
Yeah, yeah. The Oklahoma Missouri game was crazy.
I watched.
It was like, I'm not sure if you saw this, but it was like 16 to like 9 or something. And in the last 5 minutes, it was like there was like 30 combined points scored.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I watched the first half of that game,
It was
and
horrible.
I was like, all right, Missouri's cooked. They're gonna lose. But you know what? I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? Missouri's always down by like 20 points, and they still win somehow. So, I counted on them winning.
Okay, yeah. So first, we're gonna get into the big game. All right, we're gonna get into the Ole Miss Georgia game. Now number 10, Ole Miss knocked off the second-ranked team in the country, Georgia, by a score of 28-10.
Yeah.
Very interesting game. So in the first drive, Jackson Darts, Ole Miss quarterback, they started that first drive was pretty bad for Ole Miss. It had me thinking Georgia was going to win by a large margin, and that was not the case. First two plays were sacks, and then third play he threw an interception, and then he came off the field injured. It was looking really rough for them, and then Georgia took over. They scored a touchdown. I thought Georgia was going to win by like 40 at that point.
Yeah.
And then Ole Miss, their backup quarterback, drove down the field and scored a touchdown.
Dude.
Right back at it, and then
Ole Miss's backup quarterback.
yeah. I forgot his name. I think his name's like Simmons.
Yeah,
He's a lefty guy, but I mean he's pretty good.
Austin Simmons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Austin Simmons. Yeah, he's pretty good left-handed quarterback. He looked kind of like Tua. I'm not gonna lie, but I mean
Really?
he's only like a freshman though. So
Okay.
Yeah, that's exciting though.
yeah,
It
it
is.
is exciting for them considering Jackson Dart's gonna be gone after this year. But
Yeah.
And he did that on, Georgia of all people,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
all of all teams.
Georgia's got one of the best defenses in the country, no
Exactly.
doubt about that. But, yeah, I really thought Georgia was going to run away with the game after the first drive, and then Georgia just laid an egg. They only scored 3 points the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Carson Beck is
Yeah, Carson Beck didn't do much. He didn't even throw the touchdown.
He sure
Yeah.
didn't. He I
was
just
a
haven't,
ru-
I haven't seen it out of him.
It was
lately.
Nate Frazier got the touchdown, and
Yeah.
then Carson Beck threw an interception.
Yeah.
Carson Beck. I don't know what's up with him. So, entering this season, I'm not sure if you guys knew, entering this season, he was supposed to be the number 1 overall picked in the draft this year. His stock has fallen to the mid-rounds.
Yeah, he's looking bad.
And he has
Yeah.
I think he's thrown 12 interceptions the last 5 weeks.
Yikes.
Yeah.
And he's thrown like 6 touchdowns.
Ooh.
He
That
was,
was brutal.
he was projected to go number 1, and was he in the Heisman race?
To begin the season, I guess you could say that. He hasn't been ever since like week
Oh
3.
yeah, no, I wouldn't doubt it. I think who did Georgia Tech beat? I know they beat Alabama.
This week? Who did Georgia Tech beat this
No,
week?
no. Like the big teams that they beat. That was Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Beat Alabama.
yeah.
Who did
And
Georgia Tech beat? They beat a really good team, or a
Th-
pretty
this,
good team.
This week, they Georgia Tech knocked off number 12, or not number 12. They were number 4, Miami.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so basically with that game, I watched that game. It was a pretty early game. It was 11 a.m. kickoff, but I watched it. It was Georgia Tech. All they did was run the football.
Yeah.
They didn't throw. They didn't throw much because their quarterback, his name's Haynes King. He hurt his shoulder, so they couldn't throw the ball as much. They
Yeah.
just ran the ball all over Miami.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech has. They have something for beating all these Florida teams because they knocked off Florida State earlier. No, I shouldn't say knock off because Florida State is currently 1-9 right now, and they're not doing
Insane.
it. Yeah, it's just crazy because last year they went like 12-0, and they didn't get. People were talking about how they didn't get into the playoffs, and then they got blown out by Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was crazy, but
in the Alabama game, Alabama LSU,
Oh my gosh.
Jalen Milroe had 4 rushing touchdowns and he
on
went
the
12 or 18, 109 yards. Didn't throw a touchdown or an interception.
bro on the road too. On the road at Death Valley, and
Yeah.
they brought the stat up that like Brian Kelly, who was the coach at LSU, he has not lost a night game.
I think they were both 6-2
Yeah,
too.
yeah, they're both
Or
6-2.
well.
So that completely eliminated LSU from the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mm.
So now Bama
What
is
was-
in, which is crazy because Bama lost to Vanderbilt.
Dude,
And- And there's-
Vanderbilt got blown out by South Carolina.
yeah,
They did.
28-7.
took him out of the
Vandy-
rankings.
South Carolina beats Vandy. Now South Carolina is a sneaky good team. They're a few plays away from being a one-loss team.
Mm.
That one other loss being against Ole Miss. They got blown out in that game, but they could have been a playoff team if they just made a few plays here and there.
How'd you feel about that Tennessee Mississippi State game?
I mean, I watched it. I was proud of their effort. Florida State is like 2-8, but I mean, they were in the game for most of the game except for the fourth quarter. Tennessee kind of ran away with it
Yeah.
as I
yeah.
expected, but I mean, State's defense is just absolutely horrible, and but yeah, they put up a good fight in that game.
Back to Alabama, Milroe, he's just like, I understand why he wasn't throwing a whole lot because I mean he's been getting.
He's like a
picked.
running back.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah.
he's like Lamar Jackson. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know where he's going to go in the draft this year, but he's going to be highly sought after for a lot of teams.
yeah.
That's for sure. In my
It's
opinion,
just the only thing that makes me think a little bit otherwise is because, I mean, his throwing's just not as good as it should be. You know.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. But yeah, it was just really surprising. I mean, LSU only scored 13 points at night.
Yeah.
It just doesn't that does not sound like
I don't-
LSU. And if you saw the game, the fans were left by halftime.
Yeah.
That never
Yeah.
happens at LSU. That's the stuff that happens at Mississippi State games.
Mm.
And I'm a State fan,
Yeah.
so I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to leave a game at halftime.
Yeah.
Really weird to see that. But I mean, Alabama right back in the playoff discussion
Yeah,
after losing
I
to
mean-
Vanderbilt and Tennessee, which I mean Tennessee is good. Speaking of Tennessee, they got a tough challenge. Not tough. Well, I don't know. After this week, they got to go on the road at Georgia, which I
Oof.
mean, I think Tennessee might have a
Dude.
chance. I think Tennessee might have a chance in that one.
After
But-
seeing Georgia's performance the other day, I
Yeah.
mean, I
The
have
only
no reason to think that Tennessee won't beat them.
but the only thing that's keeping me from being all the way with Tennessee in this game is Tennessee's starting quarterback who got hurt in the Mississippi State game.
Nico.
Nico Iamaleva or something like that.
Lamaleva.
Yeah, I don't even know how to say these quarterbacks' names.
Now, just wait for all of them to develop at Tennessee. I think Tennessee could maybe win it if they worked on their O-line and then develop like
they
a
have
good
the most.
quarterback system.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say Tennessee's the most dark horse team to win it all. That's what I would say.
I think
Mm.
so too.
They have probably arguably the best run. Well, I wouldn't say the best because Ashton Genty is
Yeah.
crazy. I'd say a top 5. They have a top 5 running back in I forgot what's his name. Dylan Sampson. He's really good. Yeah, and they have a good wide receiver group. They have a good defense. They have the number 1 edge rusher in the country, and James Pierce Jr. Yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good. So I'm really interested to see what Tennessee's gonna do
What
there.
what is their record right now?
Tennessee,
Do you know?
they are now 8-1.
Who'd they lose to?
They lost to Arkansas. They lost a bye game.
Oh,
to
yeah.
Oh, that's what I was thinking about. Okay, so
It was a very low scoring game. I think it was like week 5 or something. I can't remember,
Oh.
but it was a night game in Arkansas. Yeah. Nico just kind of folded under the pressure, but
that's what I was about to talk about. See, Nico, he's a great quarterback in some instances, but like I watched that Arkansas game, and he could not make a pass.
he needs another year to develop.
He could not make a pass, and then it was
Yeah.
kind of the same with the Alabama game. I mean, they scraped by it, but he just was not making passes. I mean,
Yeah.
the only reason they won that game is because they were running the ball well. But
They have a good running game this year. Nico just needs. Nico's one of those 5-star guys that he's got a lot of potential. He can.
He's got a lot of raw talent.
Yeah,
he does,
for sure.
he does.
I mean, even versus Mississippi State. I mean, he overthrew a few passes, but I mean, he did connect on like some of them,
Yeah,
which made me pretty upset. But it is what it is.
Man, I'm an
Um,
Oklahoma fan, and
Yeah, y'all.
yeah.
I didn't like any of it.
Luck was not on y'all's side this week. That's for sure.
And I
Never.
thought y'all had it. I really did. It was in your clutches, and Missouri stripped it away from you.
To a backup quarterback too. I'm kidding.
Well, Jackson Arnold's technically the starter, and he was the starter, and then Michael Hawkins Jr. stepped in, and he's more of a running quarterback. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And he was doing all right. He kind of revived the game against Tennessee, but there's not much he could do. He's a true freshman.
Yeah, for sure.
But Jackson Arnold is, a 5-star. He was a 5-star quarterback, and then came to Oklahoma at our first year in the SEC,
Yeah.
and it's his second year.
Yeah.
He was backing up for Dylan Gabriel, like all last year, and then Dylan Gabriel opted out to get ready for Oregon. That's what
Yeah,
it was.
yeah,
He declared
yeah.
his transfer, and Jackson Arnold threw 6 interceptions against Arizona.
You just can't do that.
Yeah.
Especially
In a
with a team
bowl
like
game.
Arizona, like
Yeah,
It's a
I
bowl
feel like-
game.
I feel
6
like-
interceptions.
I feel like a lot of that has to do with his offensive coordinator at the time. Of course, a lot of the reason why a lot of these Oklahoma players committed to play for Oregon was to play for the offensive coordinator Jeff Lebby. Now, with him going to Mississippi State, he doesn't really have that same play calling scheme as he would have had if he had Lebby. They had offensive coordinator. I think his name was Seth Luttrell. I think they fired him like midway through this season.
yeah,
Yeah. So he hasn't really been treated that well. It's going to be interesting to see if he stays or if he enters the portal or not. That's definitely one to keep out for. At least for my team, because I feel like if he enters the portal, he could definitely try to relink back up with Jeff Lebby. But I don't know. I feel like me personally with my team, I feel like we already have our quarterback for the future. So
yeah.
The thing is with Dylan Gabriel, oh my God, I loved watching Dylan Gabriel. He's a lefty, I'm a lefty. That's one of the reasons I like Tua. It's just cool seeing a left-handed person out there because you don't really see it much.
Right,
You see it more
yeah,
than you did
yeah.
back in the day for sure. You had Mike Vick, that's probably the only one. Oh, what's his name? Was Joe Namath left-handed? No, it was Joe.
I don't think so.
Who was it? I think he played for the 40. Oh, Steve Young was left-handed.
Oh,
Steve Young.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
okay.
Steve Young.
Yeah. And Tua, and I like watching. I'm just like, okay, word, that's cool.
Okay. It's going to be really interesting to see where he falls in the draft this year. I know he's playing really good in college. The scouts aren't really too high on him as far as like pro ability because he's been in college for 6 years. But I think now with all these rest of these quarterbacks, Bo Nix was in college for 6 years.
Yeah,
and he got drafted. Now he's a starting quarterback for the Broncos. I think he can
And
do just
he's
fine.
doing pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah. And considering he's in the Heisman race, I think he'll be just fine. All right, guys. So it was a really fun episode today. I hope to talk about these next few games that are going to be happening this weekend, next week around this time.
Should be some good games.
Yeah, really good games.
I need a Sooners win.
Really big impact for the college football playoff, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But we want to say thank you for tuning in today, and we hope you all have a good one, and peace.